Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
We're live, and I'm back. Welcome to WagerTalk Today, everybody. The world's most listened to, most loved, most watched, the greatest single sports betting daily show on the planet. I'm Lawrence Presman, and that guy is Teddy Covers. And we got Ronald Cabang joining us today. We got Bryan Leonard joining us first. He's going to talk 2 baseball games. Cabang's going to look at the WNBA, and of course, it's Tuesday. Dave Sharapan. Teddy, my brother, we'll do a quick recap of my poker experience a little later. How are you, my friend? And honestly, it's been a week. Are you still winning?
It's been just fine. I mean, there are no complaints right now, Lawrence, and it was good to see you here in Las Vegas. I'm sure you'll spend plenty of time regaling us with your poker stories. No question about that. It's what you do. That being said, congrats. You had 2 deep runs, and I'll give you credit, all the credit in the world. Your poker, clearly, right where your hockey betting was, in good current form.
Yeah, my hockey betting did not end up in good current form, but that does happen. My poker, listen, dude, I mean, I'm playing, I spent COVID restructuring my entire game, and it is starting to pay off. For everybody who cares, I played the seniors event. My 3rd seniors event at the WSOP cash in a row. I came 420th out, which is a beautifully appropriate number. So random too. Out of 7,100 people. Then I played the mystery bounty at the Aria and was 7 away from the money. And I ran deep into day 2 of the MGM main event, and I came 2 away from the money. And Teddy, it was an interesting hand that I got knocked out on. I mean, 2 from the money. I have 12, 13 big blinds left. I look down at ace king. Everybody folds. The button does a 1. It was 8,000 was the big blind. The button raises it to 18,000. I got 120 and I shove. Walked right in with ace king, walked right into queens, hit my ace, he hit his queen, and that was the end of that. Okay, brother, that's a synopsis of my poker trip. It was great having dinner with you. And what did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Oh, we got to talk about the New York Yankees right now, because the Yankees are doing something special. All right, really special. They're 54-20, the single most profitable team in baseball. And remember, when it comes to MLB money lines, nothing the books can do about it. They can price the Yankees higher and higher, but unless they lose, the bettors will continue to win. Then you start looking at the best 81 game starts in MLB history. You know, most of them are from back in the day, 1929 Philadelphia Athletics, 1912 New York Giants, 1907 Chicago Cubs. That's where the Yankees are right now, in position to catch those teams. The 98 Yankees started 61-20. They finished 114-48 and won the World Series. And when you look at the teams that are comparable to what the Yankees are doing now with these hot starts, won World Series, lost World Series, won World Series, lost World Series. They're getting all the way to the final. Now, they're very live to be in that grouping. And, you know, I keep saying, oh, wait for the fade opportunity. But frankly, there are better teams to fade than the New York Yankees, like their opponents last night, the Oakland A's, who blew a 4-run lead in the Bronx. Ended up losing by 4. Yankees, number 1 in MLB profitability. A's, number 30, dead last in MLB profitability. They'll meet again today. Prez?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, especially being a Blue Jay fan and seeing the Yankees just roll out day after day after day. They're so balanced. I hope they blow their load before the playoffs begin. Let's just put it that way. It's funny. I'm off to Boston on Friday, and I missed the Yankees series. I would have gone for sure to Fenway to see the Yankees Boston. I missed it by a week. Guys, real quick, Put up in the comments in the show after we go live what you would have done. You're 2 away from the money. It's a $2,200 pay, a min cash pay. I have ace king. I'm in the big blind. I have 12 big blinds left. Everybody folds. The button who was very loose, he raises from 8,000 to 18,000. I look down at ace king. Do you? If I call there's an ace on the flop and I end up shoving. Otherwise I shove pre-flop or I fold my way into the money. I'm curious what you guys would have done, and we're all different. I mean, for me, my goal isn't to cash. My goal is to win, so I don't really care about that min cash. But I am curious to hear what you guys think. Before we bring Bryan Leonard in, I just want to make mention it's $2 Tuesday over at WagerTalk. Bryan Leonard is that guy. He's the $2 Tuesday handicapper. At Sports Memo, we have 3 handicappers for only $5. You get Eric Pauly, Jesse Shalou, and Dion D'Amico, all for $5 over at Sports Memo. Bri, sorry I missed you at Carmine's birthday party. My plan was to be there. I actually booked an extra day to be there, and then I ran deep in a poker tournament. How are you, my friend?
I guess that's a good reason to miss it. Yeah, I assumed that you'd already left, and I was wondering why that happened. But yeah, I'm probably not the guy to have on here after a poker talk because I think that's the most boring sport there is. And when you say you finished 8th out of the money or 2 out of the money, that means you lost. So you lost those games, but you did cash on the one, and congratulations on that.
Yes, of course it means I lost, Bri. But the good thing for me is I don't do any of this for the money. I do this because I absolutely love playing what you call the boringest sport of all time. I call it a game. I don't really see it as a sport.
You're right.
Lacks hand-eye coordination. I don't sweat. Most people playing around me are over 250 pounds. It pretty much self-defines itself as anything but a sport. But I love the competition. I love the camaraderie. And I honestly feel that it is a top 3-4 strategy game of all time, even though obviously it has an incredible element of luck to it. So that's it. Let's get into it, my brother. Game number 1, Pittsburgh at Washington. You want to talk about the Pirates? Are they the bet at plus 110? Where are you going here?
Well, I just want to add to something you had said about it not being a sport. And you're correct. But I don't understand why golf is a sport also. You don't play defense. You can drink a beer and smoke a cigar while you're playing it. That is not a sport in my eyes.
Every right fielder on the planet can drink a beer and smoke a cigarette while playing baseball. Just for the record.
I don't agree with that one.
Order a pizza. Go ahead.
Okay. We're going to take a look here at the Pittsburgh-Washington game. And I did another show the other day, I think it was the baseball show, and we talked about this Washington pitching staff. I don't believe I've seen a worse starting staff in Major League Baseball than what we see out of Washington. Adon has gotten a lot of starts this year. He's been horrendous. Patrick Corbin's been horrendous for 2 years. And yet Washington is a home favorite in this game. A team who is only 13-26 at home all season. I had Pittsburgh yesterday as a nice underdog. I thought I was going to have a winner there. They blew it at the end. Did have Baltimore, so we ended up with a profit for our clients. But I can't trust this Washington Nationals team as a favorite in this game. You take a look at Quintana and Corbin. Quintana hasn't been great, but he's been serviceable. He keeps the opposition off balance. Exit velocity is excellent at 86.6. Patrick Corbin, for an example, is 90.8. So I get to fade Patrick Corbin in a situation here where with the way the Pirates have moved, bringing up a lot of their younger players, the Pirates on the season, from a run standpoint, plus or minus, they're 10 runs better than Washington is, and they went half the season without bringing up some of their better players. I want no part of Washington here. To get Pittsburgh is an underdog. Is the only way I would look in this game. And I like Pittsburgh in this matchup.
So certainly conceptually, I'm with you 100%. I want no part of laying a price with Washington and Corbin. But my question for you, when you look at the Pirates, I mean, the Pirates are a bad team. They're a bad road team. They're not hitting. They've lost 4 in a row. And the Nats are on a little bit of a hot streak. They've won 5 out of 7. They're actually hitting the ball a little bit right now. So I ended up talking myself out of the Pirates today at the plus price. I'm curious to see, do you think this Nationals' current form is anything to be afraid of, or Washington's actually starting to win some games and hit the ball a little bit better? Or is this just a temporary blip for the Nats? Who now, again, they've won a couple of series and playing noticeably better baseball, at least in my eyes.
They have brought Espino, who's been a reliever all season long. He's now starting. And to be totally honest with you, he's by far their best starter at this point. And he's a guy that they weren't putting in the closing role, and they weren't starting earlier this season. And now he is your best player, best pitcher. That doesn't say much about your pitching staff. Yeah, they are hitting a little bit right now. The problem you have with Washington is they've got the best player in baseball in Soto, and they can pitch around him. And especially this season, because they've got some older guys hitting around him in the lineup for Washington. So, you're fully aware of the way Pittsburgh is, but I think this is a different Pittsburgh team than what we saw earlier. I like teams that are very young and they bring these guys up, these young guys, and Cleveland's done a lot of that. Cleveland doesn't have a lot of talent offensively, but in the last couple of years, they brought up a lot of their minor leaguers, and they play with a fire every day. And they've had a lot of comeback victories because of that. And I like that coming out of these teams. I would much rather have a team that's not going to win anything, that has a lot of young players out there because they continue to play hard every day. This Washington team, just a few years from winning the World Series, is just a shell of themselves right now. Don't want any part of them, but I do understand it. Out of everything I've used today, this is probably the weakest play. It's only a free play. It's not a paid play for my clients, but I still like it, and I give it out here, and I also bet it. So,
Bryan Leonard joining us, everyone, exclusive handicapper at WagerTalk.com. Before we get into the next game, which happens to be a discussion on the Yankees and Oakland, NHL season is over, finished. I just want to make mention that we had 10 handicappers all make profit in the NHL this year. Bryan Leonard, you yourself made 74% ROI on the season. I want to congratulate you. What an outstanding performance in hockey this year. Way to go, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this has been handicapping hockey for 5 years. The last 3 years, we've tripled clients' bankrolls in hockey the last 3 years combined. So, yeah, it was a really good year. And I know a lot of the guys play favorites. It was a good favorite year. You can pick out your spots. There's nothing wrong with playing favorites. And we're going to talk about a baseball game that I record right now. But, yeah, congratulations to yourself. A lot of great handicappers on the site for hockey, and hopefully continue that next year.
Teddy, Johnny Detroit in the chat room talking about all his friends who are great poker players, lists everybody. Then he groups me in with him and Marco, saying that we have zero chance long-term beating people like that. Johnny has never... Yankees, Oakland A's, Bryan Leonard. Who's winning this game?
As I just spoke about, I don't like to play favorites in this range, but in this case, I think it's a little bit cheap. Some money has come in on Oakland. And to be totally honest with you, I almost used Oakland yesterday, and when I saw them with that 4-0 lead, 4-1 lead, I'm kicking myself. But then that's the Oakland A's, and that's what bad teams do. They blow leads, and we saw that yesterday out of Pittsburgh, and we saw that out of Oakland. They've got Frankie Montas on the mound today, which is the whole reason why this line's not at least 250. Montas is a guy that's having a really nice season, and this could be the Yankees. He may be playing for the Yankees in a week or so, so it's an important game for him. But this Oakland team does not hit lefties, and we've got a young kid in Sears going today, and he's only pitched a little bit in the majors, but this is a guy I want a piece of. I'm a big fantasy baseball fan, and this is a guy I want on my team for the future. So far this year, his numbers, obviously a small sample size, but they've been terrific. Everything I've seen in the minors, he's been terrific. Tells you how deep this Yankee pitching staff is. And the last few games, we've seen some weaknesses out of this Yankee pitching staff for the starters, not pitching nearly as well as they had in the past. So it's nice to have these guys down in the minors. The Yankees have like 3 guys down in the minors right now that could be starting on many teams in Major League Baseball. And one of them is Sears here. And I like the situation here. You got an Oakland team on the season. They are not good at all. 9-31 against teams with a winning record. And the New York Yankees, as Teddy pointed out, just a tremendous record. 32-9 at home. They're up 148 run differential. Oakland's down 111. So you got a 259 run differential in like 75 games. So that's like 3 runs a game between these two, and you're laying, basically the 180 range here for the Yankees at home. Just couldn't pass it up. Montas, great pitcher, but he's facing the New York Yankees and these hitters in this game. Totally different ball game here. I like the Yankees. I'm laying it with the Yankees.
So at no point would I make a case for the Oakland A's this year. I don't think I've bet them once all season, and I've made a fair bit of money betting against Oakland. So I'm certainly not going to try to make a case for Oakland. But Montas has been dynamite. He's coming off a game in which he threw 7 innings and no-hit ball and then lost on 3 walks and 2 wild pitches in the 9th inning from the bullpen behind him, which is what bad teams do. But we've also seen this A's team be, they're 8-29 at home and 17-21 on the highway. At home, for the season, they're the single least profitable team in baseball, but you bet on them in every road game, you've actually made money with Oakland. And the bats come alive as soon as they have more than 2,000 fans watching them on this current road trip. The last 3 games, what have they scored? 5, 5, and 9. Do any of those concern you? Montas is good form, the A's bats being good, the A's winning on the road, because those are the 3 factors that kept me off the Yankees in this ballgame.
Yeah, that's also to be concerned about. The Montas actually is the major reason for Oakland here. But once again, 9-31 against teams with a winning record. Teams tend to let down a little bit when they play bad teams at home. We see that a lot of times that some of these bad teams actually play a little bit better on the road. Kansas City's record's a little bit better on the road than it is at home. And we see teams letting down in that situation. The Yankees are a team on a mission. I don't think they're going to have a letdown here. If they're going to have any type of letdown, they're already up by 12 and 12 and a half games over Boston, Toronto, 13 over Tampa Bay. I haven't seen the letdown coming out of these bats. They did have 16 straight innings without getting a hit against Houston. So that brought them down to the level a little bit, made them think that, hey, maybe we're not a shoe-in to win this all in the American League here. So I think they come out still fired up and to beat this Oakland team. And Oakland has not fared well against the Yankees, even when Oakland was going to the playoffs every year. And I like this Oakland team. I like the Oakland organization. They've been tremendous on what they've been able to do over the years with low payrolls. But once they got to face the Yankees in the playoffs, we all know what was going to happen. And that was when Oakland had good teams. I like the Yankees here. The number's cheap, but I understand anytime you're laying a 180, something 185 in that range, there's always reasons to play the underdog. And usually that's the way I'm looking, but not in this case. I think the line's cheap.
There you go, Bryan Leonard. Bryan, thanks so much, man. What do you got to promote?
We've got 2 plays up for clients today. One of them is this Yankees play. I also have that 5% play going in Major League Baseball.
Nice.
Going back the last 5 years, nobody's made more money on 4 and 5% in Major League Baseball than I have. Number 1 the last 5 years in that regard. This year in 2022, 4s and 5s have been great in every sport. So I would suggest to grab this $2 play today. I think it's a nice winner for us.
Thanks so much, Bryan. We'll see you next week. Johnny, I don't want to play cash poker at our meet and greet. I don't play cash poker. I hate cash poker. I suck at cash poker. But let's do a tournament. We'll have mystery bounties on all the handicappers' heads. You take out Teddy, you get his NFL season on the house, something like that. That could be fun, but man, I got no interest playing cash poker. I will, because we can hang out. Anyway, Teddy, Johnny's just shit talking me, man. He thinks I suck at tournament poker.
Good.
What does it matter? It makes no difference what Johnny thinks about my tournament poker, and yet I care. We'll be right back, everybody. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown, Ronald Cabang and Dave Sharapan.
The 2022 NFL season kicks off on Thursday, August 11th, with the New England Patriots hosting the New York Giants. And while some say they won't bet the preseason, many NFL handicapping experts say there's more value betting the preseason than any other sport. The NFL preseason is $249, but you can save $100 by purchasing this package by kickoff of the Hall of Fame game on August 11th. The entire NFL preseason for just $149? Yes, football is back. This offer expires when the Patriots and Giants kick off, and your access begins the moment you sign up, so you will get any early releases the moment they are loaded.
It is time for today's Big Game Breakdown. And no, it's not a game. We're going to talk about the LA Superchargers, who are lined as a 10-win team this year. I'm going to talk about the Chargers to win the division. You can find plus 225 widely available. Line shoppers can find better than that. I'm going to talk about the Chargers to make the playoffs. You can find minus 150. If you shop around, minus 160 is widely available on the Chargers to make the playoffs. I think both of those bets are solid bets. Chargers to win the division, the AFC West, and to make the playoffs. When you start with both of those, you're going to have to look at the competition around them in the AFC West. And look, it's the toughest division in the NFL on paper. No bottom feeders at all. But we're talking about a Chiefs team that lost the best playmaker in the NFL in Tyreek Hill and had salary cap woes. The Raiders have a weak defense. The Broncos have underachieved each of the last 2 years. A new coaching staff, they're no sure thing. This team is live in the AFC West. They're live to win the division. Herbert's live. Justin Herbert's live to this year's Joe Burrow. I don't bet a lot of Super Bowl futures. 31 teams lose, only one team's win. There are dumber bets than the Chargers this year. And you look at some of the factors in their favor. I talked a little bit about schedule. Last year, they didn't get any step down in class opportunities. Only 3 below average teams on their schedule all year, based on my powering numbers the week the games were played. They'll play more bottom feeders than that by the bye this week. They have the Jags, the Texans, the Falcons, the Seahawks all early on. And if you note, the NFL is paying attention to the Chargers this year. 4 TV games, including Week 16 and Week 17. They want Herbert to be a star. All right. You look at the personnel for LA. All right. Offensive line, maybe not elite, but certainly well above average. Defensive line, maybe not elite, but certainly above average. This past offseason, they had the benefit with draft capital and money to spend to be a vastly improved team. And the luxury of this past offseason, they're able to draft for need and filled basically every roster hole they had. I think there's nothing but upside with the LA Chargers and Justin Herbert. I like them to win the division, and I certainly like them to make the playoffs, even with a little bit of chalk with that wager. There you have it, Prez. Back to you, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, and what you say makes so much sense, Teddy. And I mean, you've been deep into NFL already this year. Your win report, is it out?
Yes, came out yesterday.
Yeah, I read some of it because you sent some of it to me, and man, it's well written. Great stuff, bro. Ronald Cabang joining us, everyone. What's going on, Ron?
Hey, man. I'm just kind of trying to get back to full strength here. I've been sick for a little bit, but glad to be back on shows and talking sports again.
Well, we're lucky to have you. You can find Ronald Cabang at Sports Memo. You want to talk WNBA? You got a bet for us on the Mystics. I'll hand the mic to you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I'm looking at this Dream Mystics game here. The Mystics, they've been a pretty strong first half team all season long. the Dream have struggled in the first half all season long. If we look at just net rating on a full season level, the Mystics are 11.4 points greater in net rating than the Dream are in the first half. If we look at the last 5 games specifically, the gap even grows even bigger. 24.2 point gap. The Dreams themselves are minus 22.2 in first half net rating. Surprisingly not last, so the Fever are last at minus 22.6. The biggest problem for the Dream has been facing the injury bug. They've been without a few players, the main person being Erica Wheeler, who's one of their main ball handlers and facilitators that kind of gets their offense going. She's a game time decision today, so I'd probably look out for her status before I make a bet. Either way, I think the Mystics cover, but the line may shift in our favor if she's ruled in at some point. The Dream are coming into this one with less rest than their opponent. They're 1-5 straight up and 3-3 against the spread in this situation. But focusing in on that first half, they're scoring just 32.2 points per game at half in those games, but allowing 41.2 points per game. So that's a 9-point gap there for their opponent. As Road Dogs, 2-5 straight up and 4-3 against the spread. And then focusing in on that first half again, though, averaging just 36 points per game at half and allowing 41.6, so 5.6 point gap there. And the first half line is at -4 for the Mystics. On the Mystics side, they're 3-5 against the spread as home favorites this season. But if we're focusing on that first half again, averaging 40.8 points per game, allowing 34.7 points per game, a 6.1 point gap there. To me, all the signs are pointing towards a Mystics first half play today. But like I said earlier, I think there are a couple of ways to go about it. You can play it now at -4, or if you feel comfortable just waiting for the status of some of the Dream players, you can wait. I think if a Wheeler is announced in, the line may shift a little bit. If she's out, maybe the line may not even move at all, but it really is up to you. But regardless, I think the Mystics cover that first half at -4.
Ronald Cabang says, look at Washington first half in WNBA action this evening. But that's not the only game on the WNBA slate for tonight. One at 7 o'clock Eastern, Washington, Atlanta. The 8 o'clock Eastern game. Has Dallas always been called the Wings? It's like I recognize all these names and I don't know the Dallas Wings. The Wings and the Lynx playing tonight.
I'm with you.
Right now I'm seeing Minnesota. Look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. -3, total 164. What are we going to do in the later of the 2 WNBA matchups for Tuesday night?
I'm focusing in on this first half again. The Wings are coming off an outright loss to the Mercury as 7-point favorites at home. So far this season, they are 2-0 against the spread and 1-1 against to the over in games following an outright loss as a favorite. But like I said, the first half is where I want to focus in on right here. In this situation, they're averaging a combined 89 points in the first half in those games. The Wings are also coming into this one with a day of rest advantage over the Lynx. When the Wings are more rested than their opponent, they are 4-0 to the over, averaging a combined 81.6 points in the first half. The first half total is 82.5 in this one, but in those 4 games, 3 of those games were against 3 of the top 4 defensive rated teams in the league. The Lynx are 11th in defensive rating so far this season. So looking at first half efficiency in recent games too. The Wings are 4th in the league in pace, 2nd in offensive rating at 116.8, and the Lynx play a slower pace, but are the worst defensive rated first half team in the league, but 4th offensive rated in that first half. And then from a trend and record perspective, the Lynx are 5-14 straight up on the season, but they've actually picked it up offensively lately. They've covered 5 straight spreads and have gone over in 4 of the last 5. As home favorites specifically, they are just 2-3 to the over for the full game, but they're averaging a combined 84.6 points in that first half of those games. So that's over the 82.5 first half total for this game. I think they get over this 82.5 combined, end the half at around maybe 85 to 87 points here. I think just the offensive efficiency and that the Lynx have been playing lately, and the defensive deficiency of the Lynx really help in this situation here. So I think the first half over is the play.
There you go. Ronald Cabang joining us. You can find him at You can find him at UCapper. He goes as UCapper. You can find him at Sports Memo. And Ronald, what do you got going for your clients today?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a couple MLB plays today. MLB's really been picking up for me just because there's more data involved throughout the season. So I'm doing a lot well there. I think plus 10 units or so in the last week. So that's going well. WNBA, since the NBA really finished, I'm really focused on MLB and WNBA right now. I finished the NBA season 4th, I believe, at Sports Memo this season, but that still keeps me first overall in profit in the NBA over at Sports Memo. So with my focus over with the WNBA and MLB right now, that's where I'm really spending most of my time here. Obviously, I want to look forward to the football season, but this summer here, I'm really just going to focus in on these two sports here, and I should have plays pretty much every day. And I also have you also catch me on the Full Count show over at Sports Memo as well. And I also have my own show, Let's Cap, where I have guests from WagerTalk and Sports Memo as well that come on. And I think the cool thing about that show is really we kind of go live capping for the audience, so they kind of see a behind the scenes look of our capping process. And I think it's a really fun show.
Nice.
Some of the guys in the chat here actually show up on that show, so I appreciate the support there. But yeah, I would really love to have more WagerTalk and Sports Memo guys on there. I think it's a really fun way to showcase the actual capping process of what we do.
Ronald, man, it's so good to see you. I'm really glad you're feeling better.
I appreciate it.
That's key. Health is paramount for all of us, dude. So great to see you. Good to see you up and about. And we'll have you on again in the not too distant future.
I appreciate it. See you guys.
Teddy, who's our next guest? I can't remember. What's his name? What does he do?
He wears caps.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
And his name is...
That guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Sharapan, something.
So I'm looking at his Twitter yesterday, right? And Sharapan's supposed to meet someone down at some book or other. And the guy's like, how do I know it's you? He's like, I'm the guy with the cap.
Wearing a hat. I'm wearing a hat, minus 10,000. How am I muted? All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Joe tried to bring me on and mute me. How does he do that? I don't understand it.
You know what? He's a smart man.
Joe's on top of everything. Good to see both of you. Theodore, guy comes to town, plays poker for weeks. I don't know how long he was here. Never once reached out. Never once.
Correct.
Wanted drama. I went down and saw a bunch of people playing poker in town. Never once reached out. That's all right. You're worried about my last name. Come on, Presman.
Yeah. So Teddy, I fly into town for 5 days of poker.
You sit with glasses.
Teddy, I fly into town for 5 days of poker. I don't hear one word from Dave Sharapan. Not a word. How are you? Welcome to my city. Where are you playing? How are you doing? Can I come visit? Narrative is an interesting thing, Dave.
So let me jump in here.
Jump at the airport. Come on.
This is how it works in Las Vegas, all right? We get lots and lots of people that come to town. I lived in Michigan for years. I lived there for a decade. I think 3 people visited me the whole time. You come to Vegas, people come in all the time. You see everyone you know. It's just how it works. So it's up to the guy that comes into town to say, hey, I'm in town, let's hang out. Not the guy that is, I live here already.
What if
it's
the guy,
on you, not on Dave?
What if the guy just doesn't want to hang out? What if the guy just wants to leave him alone for 5 days so that he can play frickin' poker?
Perfectly acceptable. That's perfectly understandable. You just can't bring me on a show and start the drama with telling me what's my last name and I come and nobody calls me. I'm fine with you coming and going and not saying a word.
Sharapan, we love drama. Yeah,
you do love drama.
I haven't worked out in 2 freaking weeks. Teddy, get some actionable info out of the guy. Hey, Sharapan, you like Teddy Sandy, the LA Chargers big game breakdown? You like that to win the division and to make the playoffs at minus 150?
Oh, they're making the playoffs. They're absolutely making the playoffs. Yeah. I was busy trying to do some other things. I didn't see it. I'll watch it on the replay later. But, yeah, the Chargers probably going to win that division. Just looking at it, looking at the schedule and things like that. So, of course, I'm with Teddy.
Okay.
There you go.
Teddy, I'll hand the mic
Great
to
minds
you.
think
I'll
alike.
shut up.
Yeah,
Go
you already
ahead.
did hand the
Go.
mic to me. Now you're just taking up. Yeah.
Blah, blah,
Dave,
blah,
let's
blah.
start with MLB for today. Yeah, it's what we do. But let's talk about the baseball slate for Tuesday. We're looking for actionable info for our viewers and our listeners. Who do the wise guys like? Who do the public likes? What have you seen as a 20-something year veteran of the MLB betting marketplace?
It's crazy because I love waking up and getting a tweet from Ralph every day. And today's day, it's the Dodgers. Yesterday, favorites went 7-2. Okay. Favorites on the year are over 60%, just over 60%, between 60 and 61%. I don't know the exact number, but favorites are winning a lot. And I mean, like yesterday, the Yankees were minus 320 favorites, down 5-2 in the game against the A's, and come back and win 9-5. The game goes over. You bet the Dodgers and the Yankees every day, you're doing pretty good. Now you're laying juice, but you're winning. So today, the Dodgers on the run line has to be a play. It will be a play. Ralph put out a tweet that says after they lose, or as favorites of minus 190, lose or something, and they're favorites again of a certain number, they're 38-9. The Dodgers will be a play for everybody. Sharps, squares, rhombuses, parallelograms, all of it. Baltimore, big plus yesterday, got there against Seattle. Baltimore, another big plus today in a game where there's probably not going to be no run scored. Game went over. No, it didn't go over yesterday. Under in that game in Baltimore. And then yesterday, Boston loses to Toronto, blows a 7-game winning streak, whatever. Come back today with Walker as a plus, Red Sox today. So those are a couple actionable info games. Quintana with the Pirates, another plus against Corbin. I cannot believe that I can believe the Pirates aren't favored, but I'm thinking that number is going to go that way. The Pirates as a plus today with Quintana pitching that's one of my favorite plays that I've seen this morning.
So look at Pittsburgh, which is one that Bryan Leonard liked early on. Look at the Dodgers on the run line. Look at the big plus price for Baltimore, and look at the Red Sox to bounce back off of last night's defeat. That's what Dave Sharapan has for our sharp action report in MLB for today. When it comes to the other sports, the periphery sports, this is the time of year where they tend to take, I'm not going to say center stage because WNBA is never on center stage and golf is rarely on center stage. But it's the time of year where certainly the periphery sports get more betting action than they do during football season or during basketball season. Anything stand out to you in that regard for the other sports besides the big three at this time of the year? Who's betting what?
I think the WNBA is very interesting. There was somebody reached out to me a couple days ago about how the dogs are winning outright. It's a nightmare. It's not a nightmare. It's because there's not that many people playing it, but it's really hard to make the numbers and keep up with the WNBA. It's just one of the softest markets I think you can find, just very underutilized by people betting. So I think taking dogs plus the points is probably the right way to go a lot of times. But dogs on a money line there, and I mean, Kelly did it years ago with going with, 3-game dog money line parlays and all this stuff. It pays a lot. And one hit over the weekend and an in-game bet that I saw and all this stuff. So, yeah, keep an eye on the dogs in the WNBA. As far as the other sports, I mean, what?
Just real quick, Dave. Let me ask you about that in-game bet. A sports book tweeted out something that couldn't have looked more suspect or dicey. All right. When you talk about an in-game bet, they're taking a huge in-game bet on 3 underdogs and pay out $400,000. And are books taking that bet? Is that what was that tweet as suspect to you as it was to me? I know in the thread you were talking about people are going, "This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real." Is that real? Or is a book trying to publicize something that didn't really happen?
No, I think the bet happened because with the spread of it all over the place. Stuff's getting through the cracks as far as books go. And like, the in-game stuff, I've seen guys do it. They won't do it again. Whoever did that, if it was real, won't do it again.
So
I can tell you that right now.
The book is going to take a $7,000 plus in-game bet on 3 money line underdogs as a parlay. Like, that's normal. I mean, bettors try to get $100 bets down and get frozen out in game. Someone had to manually approve that. Yes,
not necessarily. Not necessarily. There's some stuff, some issues with some software and some things aren't happening the way that they've always happened. Let's put it that way. That's why the industry is what it is right now. There's a lot of loopholes and things and automation of different things that may or may not be happening, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of different ways to find advantages. Let's put it that way. But I was going to say, I mean, it did. I mean, that would have never happened here. There's no chance that would have happened here, but it happened somewhere else. And again, Dave, whether it even happened or not, I don't know. But NBA futures,
Dave,
Teddy,
we got to let you go, my brother. Real quick.
Peace out. See you.
Did you make anything tennis wise? Any future tennis bet, real quick, for Wimbledon?
No chance.
Okay.
No drama.
And
no
that
chance.
is real quick. Dave Sharapan, everyone. Dave, thanks for joining us.
NBA futures.
We love having you, brother. Get out of here. Teddy, it's time for the daily presidential address. Let's go. Guys, I just want to let you all know I got 2 bets for you that I am making today, but I got to tell you guys, I'm absolutely rolling this baseball season. I'm up 26% already on the year. I won my last 3 days in a row betting baseball, 15-6 run as well. I've called dogs, favorites, totals. So please check me out for baseball, because I've just been consistently winning from start to finish, and I do have 1 client bet up. As for the 2 bets I'm making tonight, I'm going with the Jays over the total. Dave Sharapan came on the show. He mentioned he likes Boston, and I understand that. A team is on a 7-game winning streak. They lose 1 game. Typically, that would be a good bet. I don't know so much. I think the 7-game win streak from Boston's a little bit, a surprise, if you will. I don't think they're that great a team. They're not winning 7 games in a row again this season. I actually prefer the Jays, but I like the over est in that game. So take over 9. As well, I like the LA Dodgers -1.5. And again, Dave Sharapan came on the show and mentioned that bet too. So there you go. The LA Dodgers -1.5. And, of course, the Blue Jays over the total of 9. That's it. Make sure to grab my baseball play over at WagerTalk.com. Shout out to all of you guys watching the show, commenting, chatting. We love you all. Teddy, my brother, we'll see you tomorrow. Take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition. I want to thank Ronald Cabang, Bryan Leonard, and Dave Sharapan for spending time out of their busy day to hang out with us. And I want to thank all of you out there in listener and viewer land for hanging out with us. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, you know what to do. Enjoy the games and good luck.
Teddy Covers is 94-44, cashing 68% of his tickets since 2001 with his famed Teddy Covers NFL win totals report, a 20-year track record of success. In addition, Teddy is 15-3, 83% winners with his 5% big ticket plays, cashing with the Chicago Bears under last season as his 5% big ticket best bet. This package includes each NFL season over-under bet with the type of detailed analysis you expect from Teddy, primed to pay dividends all season long. Get on board for the low price of $199, or better yet, the support is 100% free for Teddy's full season football combo or NFL seasonal subscribers. documented over 55% over the last 7 full seasons, counting every play, every day. Get on board with this proven profit producer and cash in.